Hey everybody, it's Amira and welcome back to the Take 5 Art Challenge for the month of September. This month the prompts were given to us by the lovely Crafting Vicky. Thank you, Vicky. These prompts really challenged me, and once again there are some things there that I would never have put together, but I came up with a really cool page. So look at all my goodies sitting right here. I have everything right here to start. So the first one is the magazine clipping. This is an ad for Madame Butterfly at the opera here in Australia. So as soon as I saw it, I knew that this was the one that I was going to use. And because it's such a large book, I decided to use my Dina Wakley massive journal. And I was just deciding whether I was going to put it on the edge or in the middle. We'll see how we go. So this one of the second prompts was to use colored pencils. So I'm going to use my Inktense. I love these because you can add water to them. Now this is another one of the prompts marked with something that's not an art supply. This is my little spatula for flipping pancakes. So I'm going to use those holes. One of the prompts was to use the color purple, and this one is one of my favorite colors, wilted violet. Another one is to use sprays. So I got a whole heap there. Now you can see my swatches on the side, and we will see how we go. So let's get started. Now because this Dina Wakley journal it's kind of not my favorites. It was given to me as a present. It wouldn't have been something that I would have bought, but nevertheless, I go with what I am given. So the pages are like a cotton page and they absorb so quickly. So what I decided to do was add just a little bit of white paint to give it a little bit of texture and to allow the sprays to mix before they get absorbed. You can of course use gesso. I just had like 4 or 5 tubes of white paint that I wanted to get rid of. So paint goes down as the first layer to prep the page. So after that's dried, I am going to apply just a little bit of wax paper underneath because I'm about to do some spraying, which always leaves a mess on my desk. Now I'm going to start off with some Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist. This is in the color Spring Violet. I'm just getting into the mood of the page. I know that my color scheme has to have a purple in it, so I started off with a Spring Violet color, and I'm just going around the edges in a vignette style and just starting to get the mood flowing, I guess, just starting the play. The next color I'm putting down is Meadow Green, also by Tattered Angels, and I am just drying it up here. I want the layer to dry basically as it's sprayed on with not much mixing because I do want a beautiful combination of colors instead of a muddying of colors. The third color that I put down is Bell Bottom Jeans, and it is a little bit dark, so I do dab at it so that it's not so dark on the page. I kind of want a really nice bluey green in the end, and so I don't put too much of that color. Now I'm going to do a little bit of an experiment here, which kind of didn't work very well. I'm using, this is Lindy's Stamp Gang Van Dyke Sepia. I thought at first that I would put a doily so that it would pick up any of the drips, and when I pulled off the doily it just left this white space, which I didn't like, and I didn't like the color either. So I thought, oh goodness, what I'll do is I'll just put some white paint down so that it takes it back to the white. But of course you can never take it back to white, and at this stage I am freaking out thinking, oh, I've ruined it. I hate it. I hate the red, or I hate the sepia color. Can't really see much of the blue and the violet and the green that I put down first. And at this moment I'm thinking, do I stop the camera and just start again, or shall I keep going? And part of me always wants to keep going and fix the mistake. So I thought I would start from the beginning and start layering the colors on top, hoping that this kind of pinky sepia color recedes into the background. So here I'm going to start repeating the first steps that I did and try to bring back that lovely combination, which I have on the left hand side. At this stage, I'm thinking that it's looking okay. I added just a little bit of sprays of yellow. This is Studio Calico Amarillo Taxi. It's like a really old one from Mr. Huey's range. And I thought that the purple and yellow is always a good contrasting color, so a few splashes of yellow would look good around here. It is now time for my magazine clipping to go down. And I'm just cutting it out here with these really cool think they're called the butterfly butter bee scissors. This is like my favorite pair of scissors ever. And I'm just going to decide here whether I'm going to have it on the edge or on the middle. And I think I'm going to stick with the middle because I thought it would be great to have a quote going across both pages. So I'm going to reach for my Liquitex matte medium, and I'm going to add just a little bit of matte medium on the back and collage it down to my background. Now I'm reaching for my Inktense pencils, and what I thought I would do is where her hair has just a little bit of black, I'm just going to flick some violet through it to use up one of the prompts. So one of the prompts is purple, and I'm choosing violet, the color violet, as one of the hues of purple, I suppose. And I'm just going to add some purple in her hair. I think she turns out looking really fantastic. So color pencils are really good to use to alter any magazine clippings or any photographs that you wanted to add color to. And so I know that as soon as I saw her white hair, I thought she would look amazing in purple hair. So one of the best qualities of Inktense pencils is that you can add water to them and they turn into a watercolor. And so this is what I'm doing right now. Look how amazing her hair turns out. Really, really love it. Yeah, another thing I'm going to do is just add a little bit of the violet along the edges of the paper so it creates like a border that ties in with the purple or the violet that I use on her hair. And after that, I'm just going to use some of the matte medium to collage her down and to fix the color in so that even if it gets splashed with anything, it's not going to actually affect the color on top of the collage. So I'm going to leave that to dry now. I'm going to move on to the letters that are going to make the title of my page. So I'm reaching for these alpha stickers. They're like a chipboard. And what I'm doing now is I'm just making sure that I have every single letter required to make my title. And so what I do is I just go along marking all the letters in the quote, making sure that I've got every letter before I go ahead and get my hopes up high that I'm going to use this quote. And I have a second set here because of course vowels. Vowels are the ones that always go when you have these stickers. And thank goodness I have everything I need, so I'm ready to go. So I've got this wax paper down and I am going to start building my quote. Now, I remember this sticker set was on sale. It was like this ugly pink color. I got like 5 of them thinking it's okay because you could always color it in however you want. You can always add paint to change the color of the letters. And I tried a few different things. I tried adding the purple wilted violet paint straight on top of the letters, but because they're like a shiny surface, it kind of wicked the paint away, and I thought this does not look very good. So the second thing I decided to do was add gesso to the letters, and once the gesso dried, I added the paint and it was so much better. So I would recommend that you gesso your letters first, then add paint to create a more even kind of color to your letters. So I'm just going to go back now and add gesso and then add the wilted violet again, and they all become like homogeneous, lovely wilted violet color. All right, so now it's time to add my quote down. And so I'm going to start with adding half the quote on the left-hand side and the other half on the right-hand side. And I'm using tacky glue and a paintbrush. And I am going to go ahead and painfully stick this quote together. Okay, and so I did decide to have it so that the right hand side read, "Decide to be yourself," and that's the last half of the quote. That's a quote in and by itself, but the whole quote reads, "Beauty begins the moment you decide to be yourself." So the last prompt is to use something that's not an art supply to make marks, and I'm using this little spatula, which is actually working quite well, and I'm squeezing some of that wilted violet through it. I don't know what I'm doing here, I'm just kind of adding it here, there, and everywhere. And then I thought that the background looked a little bit too sort of neat and clean, and I wanted more of a grungy mixed media feel to it. So I decided to go ahead and grab a few stamps and my Punchinella stencil, which I actually love. It's like the art supply that I love the most. It's like it was free and I use it all the time. So I've got a little bit of acrylic paint here and I'm just adding it to the corners. Not really happy with how the white paint is not looking so sharp. So I'm trying some gesso here, but once again, it's not really crisp. I think I need to use like heavy body, super white acrylic paint for this, but it doesn't matter. It still works. You can still see the white going on top of the purple, which is kind of what I needed to mute back that color purple. I also have a little bit of red here, and this is Memento Red Ladybug Red ink, and I'm just adding it on top of some of the white and the purple, just adding a little more texture to the background, and it pulls that red from her eye makeup and her lipstick, and it goes really good with the purple and really good with the white. So I'm just adding it here to add some texture in the background, and I am loving how this page turned out. It's awesome. I'm just going back to my Inktense violet color here, and I'm just adding I'm just basically outlining her so that she stands out from the background. But other than that, this page is done and dusted. Vicky, thank you so much for these prompts. Really, really, really happy with how my page turned out. Love the sentiment that it portrays. Definitely something I've been rocking this month, feeling so much better than I have been lately. And look, it's showing in my art, isn't it? So go ahead and check out the other girls. Let's see what they did with these prompts. I'd love to see the clippings that they chose. I hope you're inspired. Go down to the description box below and hop on over to the other girls. Have a great September, you guys, and I'll see you next time.